Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Wake Up Wednesdays. So, wake up. These Wake Up Wednesdays are an opportunity for us to reinvigorate one another, for us to recalibrate and refocus on our plan. And the way that we do that is by checking against our GSD list, which is a get stuff done list that is outcome driven and it is not task driven. If you are a list guy like me and you love crossing off your to dos and crossing off your to dos feel good, but they don't lead towards making progress towards your outcomes across a 3, 6, 9, 12-month horizon, then what is the point anyway? You're just going from meeting to meeting, you're double and triple booked, you have people calling you, you have emails backed up, you have people pinging you, you have queries backed up in the system, you have people DMing you, and you're just going from day to day to day, meeting to meeting to meeting, and it feels like a blur. So welcome to Wake Up Wednesdays and wake up. This will allow us to recalibrate, recharge, and refocus on our plan by looking at our GSD list. I want to talk to you guys today about the article I posted in the group chat entitled, What are the top 5 challenges product managers face? And I'm just going to check my notes here for 1 second to make sure that I don't miss anything. But being a product manager is a little bit like juggling swords, except the swords are stakeholders and expectations. And if you're not careful, it can be very dangerous and you can cut yourself. As the product manager or the PM, you are expected to be the visionary and to socialize that vision so everyone is on the same page with that vision. You are expected to be direct yet diplomatic. This is how you let people down lightly. You want to keep the product aligned with the business goals and also meet market demand. So if the business wants something, but it's out of alignment with what the market asks for, you have to manage that expectation. So let's take a look at the top 5 challenges with do's and don'ts to help you navigate. So number 1, you have to lead the pack. This is the number 1 challenge. All stakeholders want your attention based on their time and their schedule. They have different priorities and they don't agree with each other. As the PM, you're tasked with balancing the conflicting demands and keeping the project on track. So do make sure you build strong relationships with them by making sure they feel heard and have regular check-ins scheduled on the calendar so they're not wondering when you're going to talk. Make sure you have a data-driven prioritization process which goes across numbers and has a ranking process so that it's not confused in regards to what the priority is because you have a number-driven priority process. And you can say things like, on a scale of 1 to 5, you would agree that 4 is greater than 2, right? And that's how you want to prioritize. So don't overpromise. Don't just say yes to everything. Don't tell them everything's going to get delivered. And don't ignore the people in the room that are speaking less. The people in the room that are speaking less are probably watching more because they're aware and they're much more in tune with what's happening. So make sure you ask them questions about any valuable insights which you might be missing. The number 2 challenge is making sure you are reading from the same book. Not everyone's going to be on the same page, and you are not going to have direct authority over every single person in the project or every single person building the product. You need to align people cross-functionally, such as engineering, software development, design, marketing, sales, operations, logistics. They all need to be on the same page, and you need to be reading from the same book. So do make sure that all communication can flow through you, or you are tapped into all communication. If you don't want to be the center of all communication, then make sure you are tapped into it. Use smart tools like Zoom, Teams, Jira, and keep everyone in the loop by having everything documented and having tools that are global that everyone can see and everyone can access and get on the same plan. Once you use these tools, you can make sure everyone is understanding the same shared vision and they're working towards that vision. They understand the why of the product. Do not micromanage people. Don't ask people how they're spending their time on an hourly basis, on a daily basis, constantly check in on them, tell them exactly how to fill out information in Jira. Do not micromanage people, and don't assume that because you've socialized the shared vision, because you've clarified the why, because you've rolled out training, that everyone is going to be in alignment. This is something you're going to need to constantly check in with feedback loops. The number three challenge is the art of saying no. The roadmap is an internal balancing act. Everyone wants their pet project, their shiny new feature added. It is your job as the PM to make sure that every single feature or function that gets prioritized in the roadmap leads to the overall vision, outcomes, and objectives. And if it doesn't, you need to learn to say no. So do this by making data-driven decisions. Data-driven decisions could be such as what the market research dictates, what the analytics based on a forecast or a trend dictates, or based on what user feedback dictates. You also want to make sure you stay flexible. Don't use data as the only decision point. You want to listen to people, hear their feedback, and listen to your gut and know when it's time to pivot. Do not say yes to everything. If you say yes to everything, you're going to get scope creep, feature creep. You're going to kill the outcome of the product. You're going to extend the project. You're going to go over budget. You need to learn to say no. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it in a polite yet professional way. Don't let the roadmap get dusty. At every interval, whether you're doing a monthly business review or quarterly business review, PI planning, or all these fancy names, make sure that the roadmap is being reviewed in every single meeting, even if it's just something that's an afterthought and it's not official. The roadmap always needs to be front and center. People always need to know this is where we are, this is where we want to be. Number four, the fourth challenge, is the fog of uncertainty. The reality of product management is that sometimes you do not have all the answers, things change, technology challenges arise, customer changes their needs. So the fog of uncertainty, it is your job to embrace that uncertainty. So do accept the uncertainty and focus on what you can control with the data you have. Do small little tests, implementations, and learns that aren't going to be very expensive. So if you do your sprint on a 2-week cycle and you spend maybe 2 sprints to test out something to see if it's going to be valuable, then you can do that little test because it won't cost a lot. Don't try to do everything perfect, and don't try to get perfect clarity. If you try to wait for everything to be perfect, if you try and make everything perfect, if you try to make sure everything is perfectly clear, you're never going to move forward. You're going to get something called paralysis by analysis. So sometimes it is better to make incremental decisions slowly in a testing environment. Don't panic in front of the team. All right, you're the PM. It is your job to keep things cool, calm, collected, to be direct, yet diplomatic. If you are coming across as anxious, as fearful, then that's going to spread throughout the entire team, and everyone else is going to feel that way. You know you're doing a good job if, when you look at the team and you look at the people you're working with and your stakeholders, everyone is cool, they're calm, they're collected, they're happy, and you're the one that's feeling all the anxiety because you're protecting them from that. That's your job. The number 5th challenge product managers chase, number 5, is the loud, the silent, and the misleading. You cannot build a successful product without understanding your customers. However, not every single customer is going to know how to articulate exactly what they want. Not every single customer you're going to have the opportunity to hear from. So sometimes the loudest or the most misleading voice in the room is the one that gets followed. So do make sure you invest your time in user research, gather feedback, surveys, testing tools. Do create user personas. So you might say, these are the users that are external. These are the users that are internal. These are the users that are going to be super admins. These are the users that are going to be regular users, technology users, HR users, operation users, etc. Create different user personas, actually map them out on cards, and talk about this is what I think the user experience, the user journey is, and then marry that back up. Do not rely on anecdotal evidence. Just because one person is very vocal or has a lot of influence or a lot of passion for something does not mean that that is going to influence everything. And don't ignore negative feedback. Don't say, well, I'm only going to listen to this group and not this group, or I'm only going to listen to the executives and I'm not going to listen to the analysts or the associates that use this system every day and day in and day out. Don't ignore feedback. So wrapping that up to go. Product management is challenging, multifaceted role that requires a delicate balance of strategic thinking, communication, and people management. From juggling stakeholders' expectations to managing cross-functional teams, there is no shortage of hurdles to clear. But with the right approach, teams can turn these challenges into opportunities for growth and innovation. So what is your call to action? Your call to action are three things. Number one, schedule a stakeholder communication reoccurring meeting on the calendar and make sure you get feedback from them. Number two, show everyone the roadmap early and often. It is better to have someone say, Mark, stop showing me the roadmap. I've seen that thing a billion times. So you could say, okay, great, you've seen it a billion times, so you should know it by heart, right? It is better that they say, stop showing me the roadmap than, can I see the roadmap? I haven't seen this thing in 6 months. Number three, get real comfortable saying no. And you do this in a polite and professional, yet direct and diplomatic way. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for this opportunity to think about the top 5 challenges that product managers face. I hope you thought about those challenges and related that to your job to see if this is something you're experiencing or how you can overcome these hurdles. And welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. So wake up, hustle harder, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.